Hey everybody, Greg Poole here at Bowjunky Media, bowjunkymedia.com. We are at the 2020 IBO Triple Crown, first leg here in Pipestem, West Virginia. This weekend's coverage is brought to you by AAE. I'm joined by Jack Wallace. We have the senior pros up now. And, of course, with this wind and stuff, Jack, these guys are going to want to get them on and get them going.
Yeah, and then without a doubt, the king of that is Mr. Tim Gillingham himself. He's worked his way into first place coming into this shoot-down round. I believe Tim entered with a 409 and 19 rings, so nearly 50% on his bonus ring. So the wind is definitely going to be a big factor. Long targets. We've got a couple of small targets out there, and all of these senior pros have opted to have somebody come out and volunteer to help hold their umbrella.
Absolutely. What we got here for Tim? Tim Gillingham has an 8, so that's going to put him at 417. And for those of you wondering that are new to this IBO format right here, as we all are, Darren Christianberry out there is the shooter representative. Harold Koger has a 10. That's going to put him at 412. So Darren Christianberry's out there, Jack, just to basically verify all the scores and make sure
that...
Yeah,
he's the pro shooter representative, and just another set of eyes so that there's multiple eyes calling the targets.
Bill has an 8 for a 409. Jeff Hopkins with an 8, and he had a 397. 405. And then Darren.
And that puts Darren at a 399 after target 1.
Absolutely. So let's go to the Bowjunky leaderboard and see how things are shaking out after the first target in the Senior Pro. All right, everybody, Greg Poole here with Bowjunky Media. I'm joined by PSE Pro staffer Jack Wallace. This is the first leg of the IBO Triple Crown here in Pipestem, West Virginia. We are on to the second target in the Senior Pro. A lot of familiar faces out there, Jack.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of these guys have been in not only the IBO game, but the ASA game for a long time. A lot of these guys are used to shoot-down rounds. They've been there, done that.
And, of course, Tim Gillingham has been the man on fire in the senior division, especially outdoors, the last year and a half. So it stands to reason that he did come into this with a pretty good lead.
Yeah, and a lot of confidence. And, you know, the wind is blowing in the weather. Obviously, the rain's coming. So he is well-schooled in the art of the command shot.
Yes, he is. He is the commander of the command shot. There's no doubt about it. But what this weekend, Jack, with some of the changes the IBO's made with the speed rule and this shoot-off and stuff, what was the overall vibe on the courses about the progress the IBO's making?
I think it was really good because there's not one particular shooter that can just show up and shoot 350 feet per second when someone else's best shooting rig may be, you know, a 290 rig. It's brought everybody a little closer together, bring yardage judging back in the game. And
absolutely.
You know, knowing the targets, learning the targets, studying your shots, your angles, you know.
Jeff Hopkins with an 11. That's a pretty good shot in the conditions there a few minutes ago.
Yeah, he adds another bonus ring to his set. That puts him at 13 bonus rings on the weekend.
Eight for Bill McCall.
Now, from the distance that we're looking, Harold Koger has shot that Wolverine. It's been one of the toughest targets, and naked-eyed at this distance, it looks like a pretty good shot, and it is. It's a 10.
10, Harold with a 10. That's going to put him at 422. That's going to keep him out in front of Jeff, Jeff's trying to make a charge out there, and you know Jeff's not afraid to shoot at him either.
No, and Jeff shoots a pretty strong shot, so he's...
Tim Gillingham with a 10. Now, I'm not sure, you know, at this point, let's just be honest here, Tim would have to make a mistake to, you know, kind of let somebody catch him in this. Darren Collins has a 10 in this format right here. So let's go to the Bowjunky leaderboard and see how things are shaking out. All right, everybody. Greg Poole here with Bowjunky Media. We are on the third target of the Senior Pro here at the first leg of the IBO Triple Crown in Pipestem, West Virginia. I'm joined by PSC Pro staffer Jack Wallace. We were just talking about Tim before the break, and we've seen Tim the last year actually blank targets and shoot-offs and still win.
Yeah,
So,
in a game like this one, Harold is the closest guy to him. Harold's an excellent IBO shooter. He's done this for a long time. If Harold can bust himself a couple of 11s inside out, you know, he's gaining an additional point. If he could knock 2 or 3 of those out, he could put himself in a position possibly to take the lead.
absolutely. One other thing that might come into play is, you know, if he was to hit one of those inside outs and Tim was to somehow make a mistake, Tim tends to get a little hard on Tim.
Yeah, and usually archers are. Usually we are our biggest critics and worst enemies. But there's a time to do that.
Absolutely.
You normally don't want to do it in the shoot-down round.
No, you don't. And of course, we understand. And there's Tim right there, not happy whatsoever. Just slammed his bow down.
Tim
he's
just
not
had
pleased.
a major mistake on the Wolverine.
Yep,
That's going to score a 5. That's below body line.
He's throwing his hands up, and that's exactly what we were just talking about. These kinds of conditions.
Well, and it looks like Harold Koger has done the same thing. He is outside of core line on the alert
yes, he
buck,
is.
so there's a good chance that that's back-to-back 5s for both of those guys.
That's how quick this game can change, Jack, especially in these kinds of conditions. Hopkins hits a 10. It's going to put him at 426. Good to see some folks come out here at the IBO. I mean, Darren Collins
yeah, with the weather
a 10.
coming in, I'm glad some people got out here and going to brave the wind and the
Right.
coming rain to see some of this go down.
All right, let's see what Tim got on the old 5 for Tim Gillingham. Yeah, he was not happy about that at all.
No, that's from our perspective. It looks like one of the longest targets out here, and it's a tiny target.
Yep, Harold missed an opportunity right there.
Yeah, our first and second place guys both back-to-back 5s on those targets.
Bill McCall with a 10. So Bill McCall is going to move up into a tie for second place with that. So that's going to be big. So let's go to the Bowjunky leaderboard and see what it looks like heading into our 4th arrow. Hey everybody, Greg Poole here with Bowjunky Media. We're back onto our 4th arrow in the Pro Seniors shoot-off here at the first leg of the IBO Triple Crown in Pipestem, West Virginia. Had a pretty awesome opportunity for Harold Koger that he could not pick up on. Tim Gillingham shot a 5, and Harold unfortunately shot a 5 as well. And for those watching at home, we do understand that the view of the archers is impaired by the umbrellas, but the wind's blowing pretty good out here, so we just have to deal with what we got to deal with. And I think that the IBO, all things considered, is doing a great job. This is their first shoot-off like this. They got it put together, and you know, it's just really about everybody coming together and making it work for the betterment of the sport.
Yeah, it's just going to get smoother and smoother as they do it more and more.
Notice that Tim Gillingham's first 2 shots, he took the wide stance that he had. The last shot, he did not take that wide stance. He stood normal and shot a 5, and now he's back to the wide stance.
And the arrow landed well.
Yep. So Tim obviously got his wind stance back on and is very, very pleased with that particular shot. So it's amazing how much footing can affect, especially in windy conditions.
Oh, yeah, your base of support starts at the ground and comes up, so you want to be stable.
Harold Koger down here. Harold with a 10. That's a good comeback after that 5. I mean, you have to do that because you know Tim's probably not going to shoot another 5.
No, you know he's coming, and Tim landed a great follow-up shot on this alert buck.
And a 12.
Yeah. Yep, inside out.
Wow. Tim Gillingham shoots an inside-out 12 on one of the longest targets.
That bumps his bonus rings up to 20 bonus rings on the weekend.
Yes, and that gives him a 7-point lead going into the last target. Darren with a 10.
Darren's showing some emotion
Yes,
out there.
he
That's
is.
excellent. I've known Darren for a long, long time. Great guy, phenomenal hunter. Darren's
Oh,
killed the Super Slam.
that's
A
an
lot of folks at
understatement.
home don't know that. He's a
Hopkins
phenomenal
with a 10.
hunter.
Yep, he is absolutely fantastic. So Jeff Hopkins comes in with a 10. Let's see what Bill McCall has down there on that feeding deer. And a 5. Bill McCall with a 5. So that's probably, that's going to hurt a little bit. I mean, Bill McCall's still sitting like he can keep that third spot on the podium, but he can't shoot another 5. Let's go into the Bowjunky leaderboard and check things out heading into the 5th and final arrow. Hey everybody, Greg Poole here. We're back at the first leg of the IBO Triple Crown. This is your Senior Pro shoot-off. We're on to our 5th and final arrow. I'm joined by friend of the program, PSC Pro staffer Jack Wallace. And this shoot-off's had a couple opportunities for some drama, but the other archers just haven't seemed to be able to take advantage.
No, there's some tough targets, and the wind has beat the guys up just a little bit. So there's a good chance this could be the final arrow. Tim
Absolutely
has a chance to put it away.
Yeah, pretty much all Tim needs to do here is hit foam. I mean, if Tim hits a 5 and Harold shoots an inside out for a 12, they'd be tied. But in these kinds of conditions, I just don't see there being a lot of inside outs simply because of the conditions. And Tim Gillingham once again takes that wide wind stance.
I see already we've had 2 shots go outside a core line. 2 arrows have landed in the 5 in this final arrow. Tim has definitely put it away with that, and when his final shot's at least a 10, we're gonna have to see what Harold's is.
All right, here we go. Ryan Bass, Larry, and the scoring crew going out there with shooter representative Darren Christianberry. Harold Koger with another 5. That's going to cinch the deal on that. And that might actually hurt him as far as keeping that second spot on the podium, depending on what Bill McCall did. Oh, and an 8 for Bill McCall. So it looks like Harold's going to slide into that second spot.
Harold has sealed it. He's got a second place vision.
Jeff Hopkins with a 5.
Jeff with a 5 on that dreaded Wolverine. That's been a killer target today, without a doubt.
I mean, I was on the range today, and a couple people zeroed it. So
yeah, it's a killer target.
Shot right over it.
It's very deceiving, and it's very small.
Darren with a 5. Tim Gillingham shoots a 10, and Tim Gillingham will be your Senior Pro champion at the first leg of the IBO Triple Crown in Pipestem, West Virginia. Hey everybody, Greg Poole here, Bowjunky Media, bowjunkymedia.com. We're here with your first leg of the IBO Triple Crown Senior Pro winner, Tim Gillingham. You tried to make it interesting out there with that 5, but Harold could not take advantage. What was going through your mind right about then? The edited version.
Well, I mean, I guess this is kind of like my backyard, so I was hoping I would judge right, but this is a judging game, and that's, you know how I feel like about that. Right. But I was just trying to, the wind caught my first arrow bad. I mean, I thought for sure I was going to get a 10 on that one, and I did. I was like, what? But I really misjudged that target. But again, when I misjudged it, I made up for it on the next one because then I knew pretty close on that deer how far it was, and the wolf fooled me too. It could be wind too. This wind is whipping around. You're trying to just, I mean, it's moving left to right, right to left in your face, and you're trying to make adjustments, and at some point you just put the pin in the middle and pull the trigger.
Well, you did shoot a bonus ring for a 12 on that one target. When that shot fired, were you obviously not confident it was going to go inside out, but did you know you had that one dialed?
Well, I felt real good on the number. I made a great shot, but it was one of those, I don't know what to do with the wind, so I just stuck it in the middle and pulled the trigger. And I made a good shot on that one. But I made a good shot on the Wolverine, too. I just, the bottom fell out of it.
There you go. All
So-
right, brother. Congratulations.
All right, appreciate it.
All right.